We're about to talk about one hell of a party. If you guys can imagine, heads of cartels, heads of state, as far as president, and lots of TV personalities, lots of people who moved money, as far as politicians, businessmen. Use your imagination. Now, one of the people there was Arturo Beltran Leyva, also known as El Barbas, head at the time of the Beltran Leyva cartel, as well as one of his more charismatic, later to be more well-known narcos in history, the Barbie, Edgar Valdez Villarreal, American-born. Now, the governor of the state of Mexico at that time was this man by the name Enrique Peña Nieto, who would later be the president of Mexico shortly after. Everyone that sat at the table, principal of the Beltran Leyva, were people, politicians, basically, that was it. They were trying to, I think, set their claws into the future president of Mexico and make a very well planned investment, that they knew would pay off. For those who don't know, one of the ways elections are won here is by buying votes. So they'll go to the poorer neighborhoods offering usually between $20, $30 for people to vote for them in the coming campaign. Normally, the mafia is the one who pays for these mass votes by the most part, and then said politicians are indebted to them for getting elected. That's what was going on right here at this party. It was a courtship in between Peña Nieto and Arturo, head of the Beltran Leyva cartel, for negotiating the future head of Mexico, who would be the president of Mexico, and I think how much he'd owe and how this would be paid off, specifics of business. Now, the actual meeting that they had lasted several hours of just solid conversations, and this is based on the testimony of one of the secretaries of Arturo. Now, he said that he felt like he was just part of the furniture because they were so heavy into conversation that they didn't even really notice anyone around them. Now, Peña Nieto was supposedly very calm and didn't look like he was nervous at all, that they were just calmly chopping it up, as we'd say in the U.S., right? They were just talking and trying to fill each other out, I think, to a greater extent. And this is a big opportunity for Arturo, to get in close. And they'd already done business together, of course, and had their arrangements, but this got them close on a whole nother level. They're actually sitting face to face. And all the while, the Mexican singer Juan Sebastian um, and his brother were listening to, were singing and setting the atmosphere. So Peña Nieto actually had several agreements with several different cartels simultaneously, and I think none of them were thought to be exclusive like that. I think they all knew that he was in business with several different people. They just all wanted a piece of the pie. And the piece of the pie they got, because this really furthered cartels in Mexico past any point they'd ever gotten previously. When I say, they'd always been in business with the government, with the president, and so on, but Peña Nieto actually really instigated a war in lots of aspects and other things that put the government on a whole nother level of complicity with the cartels, favoring one and not the other, so on, lots of different ways. During these days that I'm speaking on, was also a huge spike in violence, of course. And later on, this, ended up with the Beltran that were going to war with most of Sinaloa cartel. And this had us backing the Beltran Leyvas, and my own shop was people kind of picking one side and drawing the line. crazy times, and like I said, lots of bloodshed. So the people who were there witnessing this party, I don't know if they could have imagined the actual power that was being negotiated, because we are talking what in the end would cost tens of thousands of people their lives. The conflict that Peña Nieto was about to bring upon the Mexican population, and that's a light estimate for those of you who can believe it. Uh, a lot of people would say it's a lot larger death toll than that, and by far. But what was being negotiated, I guess, was true evil, and is still having its effects, today. It's the Beltran Leyva, were never what they were then, to compare to right now. They're just a ghost of what they were. But at that time, they were a force to be reckoned with, just like Felix were forced to be reckoned with at one time. Just because now they they aren't doesn't mean any less of what they'd gotten accomplished as far as corruption with the government and pressuring the government. When the president's afraid of the power of these groups, that's a true statement on the power. If not, he wouldn't sit and have audience with them. And they're more than powerful enough to kill the president. I think he knows that. Um, but his greed also, is I think the key factor here, not fear. He knows how much money he can get out of these groups, and he did. He planned everything he could and set the pieces into play, and ended up becoming a very rich man. To what I understand, has a mansion in Spain as well as Ireland, I believe. So he came out pretty wealthy. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think it was like for those people there, sitting there at that party, watching the president casually converse with the head of a cartel, and yeah, must have been quite an atmosphere, right? An atmosphere a lot of people never knew existed, but it definitely did, my friends, definitely did.